Good afternoon. This is Katie Friedman from Unitrends. I'd like to welcome you to our special session about Unitrends Free for the Google Cloud Platform. Before we begin today, I did want to give you a few housekeeping notes. As you may have already noticed, we do have all attendees in listen-only mode. With this in mind, we do welcome your questions throughout today's presentation. However, we do ask that you utilize the Q&A functionality from the WebEx toolkit, which you will find by selecting the icon with the question mark from either the drop-down menu near the middle top of your screen if you have that view, or from the upper right-hand corner of your screen if you have that view. Please make sure to address all questions to all panelists so that we can answer your questions as quickly as possible. We will address all questions at the end of our presentation, but please feel free to type your questions in as we go along. With those details taken care of, I did want to go and introduce our presenter for today. Today we have Dave LeClaire, who is the VP of Product Marketing here at Unitrends. Dave?
Thank you, Katie. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, where we're going to be talking about Unitrends Free, and specifically Unitrends Free for Google Cloud Platform. As we look at the IT space in general, we're obviously in a state where we have an explosion of data going on, an explosion of servers going on, and that growth is happening much more rapidly than what we're seeing as the growth in the number of admins who are responsible for those servers. As a result of that, we're seeing that in many cases, IT professionals have plunging confidence that they're able to back up their data in such a way that they know without a doubt that they're going to be able to recover and restore when they have a disruption in their servers or in their data centers. As you can see from the survey that was done by Forrester and DRG over the past several years, we've went from only 30% of people being able to restore from a downtime event in 2007. We've plunged all the way down to, in the most recent survey that was done a little over a year ago, it was down to 2%, which basically means the vast majority of people are not able to recover. For admins who are responsible for small businesses or with labs, either in their small business or in their home or in development environments, the challenge is magnified even more. Because how do you protect a small environment such as that when you may be extremely limited in funding and resources as far as doing the work? So how do you actually stay protected? Because it's still important to protect your data, even if you have a terabyte of data or a development environment. That's still important data that would be horrible to the business or to you to lose. So how do you stay protected in those small environments? The options today have typically kind of been a list of poor choices. You could use some of the free tools that are available from the various backup vendors, but most of those tools are not designed to go into a production environment. They're really designed more for trials, and they're limited in how large of an environment you can protect. If you have a lot of VMs or a lot of sockets, even if your amount of data is small, they don't tend to protect that. They may be limited in the functionality that they provide. That's really not a great choice. You could potentially pay more than you possibly could afford for a tool that is production worthy, but in a development environment or a small lab, that may not be a great choice either. You could potentially try and use alternative methods, do backup to USB drives or sneaker net it over to someplace for disaster recovery, or try and use cloud-only backup. But now you're trading off your flexibility and agility, and you're relying on data to go over WAN connection, which is good from a disaster recovery point of view, but not so good in your ability to rapidly be able to recover if you simply deleted a file or get hit by a malware attack from CryptoLocker or something like that. Or alternatively, and this is what we've seen a lot of happen in these smaller environments, the admins simply go unprotected and they hope for the best. They hope that they don't lose their data. we looked at that, and Unitrends is a company that focuses on delivering radically simple, cloud-empowered, all-in-one continuity solutions that are designed to increase IT's confidence. And we saw this hole in the market, and we saw an opportunity to fill that. So as a result of that, we introduced back in May Unitrends Free. We put Unitrends Free out as a beta product that was specifically designed to solve this problem. How do you actually protect a relatively small environment with a production-worthy tool that does local backup, that's cloud-empowered, that doesn't limit you on the number of VMs you can support or in features? So we announced that back in May. And as of today, we have some breaking news. First, Unitrends Free is out of beta. As of today, it's a generally available product. But more importantly, today was a big day for Google as well. Google announced that Google Nearline has come out of beta as well. And we have partnered with Google, and Google announced today that we've been named a Google Cloud Platform Premier Partner. And we've been working with them to create a version of Unitrends Free for Google Cloud Platform that has been designed and integrated and optimized for Google Cloud Storage, and specifically the Google Cloud Storage Nearline offer. We think this is a great way to protect a small environment with not only local backup, but cloud-based protection as well for people that actually have environments that are highly virtualized and need protection. So we're happy to introduce today Unitrends Free for Google Cloud Platform. Unitrends Free for Google Cloud Platform is a completely free product. You can go to our website and download it today, and it is unlimited virtual protection and continuity for up to 1.5 terabytes of data. This is a virtual appliance product designed to protect Hyper-V or VMware environments, but it is not limited in time. This is not a time-bound product. It's not limited in the number of VMs or sockets. So it is something that you can roll out into a production environment. Unitrends Free has been designed to be very simple. We built a user interface specifically that's purpose-built for virtualization. And we'll talk more about specifically what we're doing with that user interface, because we really think we've cracked the code on how to make backup and recovery and continuity very easy for both novice backup administrators as well as expert backup administrators. Unitrends Free for Google Cloud, just like Unitrends Free, the original, is designed to be a community-inspired and community-driven product. Support's done through the community, and we're tying into the community to drive us as to what needs to be added into the product going forward. It is a very, very feature-rich product. It contains all of the enterprise-type features that you would expect within a production-worthy product. You can do automated scheduling of your backups. You can support instant recovery, which is important to be able to restore your critical VMs in the case of an outage. We've added very rich reporting. This is not something that is a crippled version of a production tool. This is a real production tool for your environment. And the version that is for Google Cloud Platform is designed specifically with Google Cloud Storage support in mind. And we'll talk a little bit more about how important that actually is in just a minute. Again, expanding on the idea that this is a free and unlimited virtual protection solution for up to 1.5 terabytes of data. This will protect your VM data up to 1.5 terabytes. That does not count what you potentially want for retention. If you want to have 10 copies or 20 copies of your data for retention purposes, you can have as many copies as possible. The 1.5 terabyte is actually the protected data that's actually on your VMs. That doesn't count the number of storage that you may be using for retention. It does protect VMware vSphere as well as Microsoft Hyper-V environments. It installs as a virtual appliance into those environments. It does backup both locally to disk, as well as provides the ability to do backup copies to the cloud. So you can get a version of your data, a copy of your data, off into the cloud, either for archiving reasons or for disaster recovery reasons, but by getting it into a second location. It's a very feature-rich. It supports full and file-level recovery. Supports instant recovery, as I said, and it is designed with a incremental forever protection policy, basically meaning we do kind of one complete snap of your data, and then we just do incremental data updates of your data as your data changes. I invite you to not only take our word for what we're saying about Unitrends Free. As I said, this is a community-driven product, and we've worked with a number of vExperts and Microsoft MVPs to get their feedback. And there's a number of blogs out there that have been reviewing the product, and the feedback really has been phenomenal. You can see some of the comments here that, flawless, wonderful, easy to use, can't believe this would continue to be a free product. It will continue to be a free product. As well as some of the reviews that have come in from some of the analysts. Tenasia Group, for example, looked at Unitrends Free and made the comment that many of these products are mere shadows of the real thing and not suitable for long-term use in an enterprise. And Unitrends Free has changed all that. And one of the things that we really think is revolutionary with our solution is that it is unlimited. It's not limited in time. This is not a trial. It's not limited in retention capabilities. You can support an unlimited number of sockets and an unlimited number of virtualization. The only limitation that's on the product is the amount of data that you can protect. If you have an environment larger than 1.5 terabyte, Unitrends Free backups are designed to be compatible with our paid products, so you can kind of move between the different versions of our product. In terms of the user interface, as I said, we're very happy with the new user interface that is in Unitrends Free. It's designed to be very, very simple. We focused on minimizing the number of clicks to do any task. And we've done some measurements of Unitrends Free versus a typical competitor. And for both an install and a typical backup task, we're seeing anywhere between 30 and in most cases closer to 65%, 64% fewer clicks to do a task than what you would see in a typical product. And part of this is because it was built specifically for virtualization, and it uses the new user interface that we've spent the last 2 years on building, that we codenamed Satori, which is designed as something that we refer to as a origami-derived user experience. And what we mean by that is the user experience is designed to start off with a very basic, clean dashboard and expand as you do tasks. As you get into more complicated tasks, the user interface expands very naturally. And as a result of this, both novice users as well as experienced users will feel very comfortable with the experience. The user interface is designed to kind of expand as you go. This product with Unitrends Free is the first of the Unitrend offerings that will be deployed with Satori, but Satori will be making its way across all of our products as we move through 2015. So if you're a Unitrends customer, you can kind of use this as a coming attraction for what's going to be in our paid products later this year. Just to give you an idea of how simple it is, this is kind of a comparison for the number of clicks to install the product. As you can see, it's dramatically simpler and faster to install Unitrends Free than it is to install a typical competitor product. And this doesn't even count the number of clicks it takes to install the base operating system, which in Unitrends Free case is not required. We install as a virtual appliance. We take care of all that for you. Likewise, if you look at the number of clicks to perform a backup task, whether that task is in VMware or Hyper-V, it's very, very simple, very easy, dramatically more simple than what we see in competitive products. Just to give you an idea of what the user interface looks like, here is a quick view of the dashboard. You can see it's very clean. On the left, you have the tasks that you can take, whether you want to do protection tasks or recovery tasks. You can quickly see what jobs you've actually set up and have are automated to run. You can quickly get to reports, as well as see a very clear dashboard of what's going on in your environment, what we backed up, what the total size was, any errors, anything that you need to take action on. In addition to that, the dashboard also has a community look into it. So as we said, this is designed to be a community-based product. You can, and community is how we actually are doing the support of the product as well. So within the user interface, you can do direct links into our forums. You can actually submit questions to the community to be answered. You can actually look at what is available for help in the community. There's a feed that comes from the community as well that Unitrends obviously participates very heavily in the community, but we're designing this to be a larger experience than simply that. You would come just from Unitrends. As I said, we haven't skimped on things like reporting and other things with this product. Just give you a couple quick ideas of some of the reports that are available in the user interface. Gives you kind of a detailed protection summary, give you an idea of what's going on with your storage. There's many, many other things that I invite you to take a look at the product, do a quick download, get it installed in your environment, and see how easy it is to actually use. But today's webinar is primarily about how we're doing our integration with Google and how we are cloud empowering our solution with Unitrends Free. And we look at supporting hyperscale clouds. There's a very good reason why cloud is having such an impact on our industry. Hyperscale clouds provide a way to have low-cost storage that's virtually unlimited. And you are able to use hyperscale clouds such as AWS and Google to provide that low-cost storage. However, your solution really does need to be designed with that hyperscale cloud integration in mind. You need to have data protection software that supports the hyperscale cloud storage and that is designed to work in what we call D to D to C, so disk to cloud, where we're doing the initial backup from your protected environment to a disk-based environment locally in the backup software, and then we're taking a copy of that and pushing it to the cloud. And the reason why there's an advantage to that is because you still do want copies of your data both locally on disk as well as in the cloud. There are different contingencies that you have to protect against, everything from kind of small file deletions and VMs that fail that you want to restore very quickly, and you don't want to have to deal with moving a lot of data over the WAN if you can avoid it. So having your local backup copies on that disk-to-disk based backup is great, but having that cloud-based copy as well is imperative to protect you from an all-out disaster. If your facility burns down, or you get a flood, or your entire production environment has something horrible happen to it, having your data backed up in the cloud gives you that assurance that you haven't lost it, and you'll be able to restore, maybe not as quickly as you can restore from the local copy, but that you can still restore from it. Your backup software needs to typically be built with WAN optimization. Sending a lot of data, if you're going to be sending a terabyte or more of data over to the cloud on a regular basis, you need to have WAN optimization. Even with fast pipes, that's still a lot of data to send over a WAN connection. And anything you can do to optimize that traffic will only benefit and shrink your backup windows. You also need to make sure that you're doing your integration with cloud storage that does not require any compute or block storage necessary. You want purpose-built software that's designed to work with cloud object storage. Otherwise, your costs can start becoming very, very high. And that's essentially what we've done with our Unitrends Free solution. As we look towards integrating with clouds, and particularly Google, there are a number of storage considerations when you look at cloud-based storage. There is obviously the cost. Typically, you're charged a cost per gigabyte. And there's typically other fees for ingress and egress of the data. In some cases, there may be charges for how frequently you can access the data, if you access it or delete it. Frequently, depending on the storage tier that you're in, there actually may be a fee for that. So you kind of have to look at the various options out there. Latency is obviously very important. That how long is it going to take you to get that first byte of data back? And then your transfer rates are obviously going to come into play for how long is it going to take you to get the entire data set back. If you're talking about many gigabytes of data and it's going over a WAN connection, that can take a long time to basically do, particularly if you're restricted not only by the transfer speed of your WAN connection, but in some cases you may be restricted by the transfer speed out of the cloud environment. Obviously, durability is incredibly important, particularly if you're talking about data that's going to be stored for a long time. You want to make sure that that data is not going to have degradation over time. And of course, availability is key. There's no point in actually having your data in the cloud if the cloud is not going to be available when you need it to access your data. So those are all considerations. So we're very happy to engage in this partnership with Google, particularly for the use case around cold storage. When we're talking about backups and archiving, oftentimes we're talking about data that has gone cold. And what we mean by cold storage or cold data is almost all data in data centers cool over time. What we mean by that is, if you just think a simple case of emails, the emails that you've gotten in the past hour are probably more likely to be accessed by you than the ones that you got yesterday. The ones you got yesterday are going to be accessed probably a little bit more frequently than the ones you got last month. You may have to save your emails for compliance reasons for many years, but you're probably not accessing them every day. And that's true literally for almost all data in the data center. If you're talking about orders that come in from your customers, your finance team and operations team and fulfillment team and manufacturing all probably need to access that data as it comes in. But as you go over time, the data cools and it's accessed less and less frequently to the point where it gets cold. But oftentimes, cold data must be kept for compliance reasons. So as a result of that, historically what we've done with cold data is we've put it on rotational media, either tape or low-cost disks. So we've used kind of local backup to pull a copy of it down, and then we archive it to tape or rotational media. And then we take that media and we send it off-site to a facility where it can be stored in a climate control manner, or in some cases, small businesses might just throw it in the trunk of their car and bring it to their house. That's a very manually intensive process. It's one that we've used for years and years for cold storage, primarily because tapes are inexpensive and plentiful. Everyone kind of knows how they work. They're highly mobile. The disadvantage is obviously it's a very manually intensive process. It's prone to error. Tapes tend to have bit rot over time. Tape systems are expensive, and they tend to change, and when they change, now do you have access to the data that you need that you used on your old system? And any way you slice it, it's a time-consuming process. And if you want to get your data back, you now have to pull your tapes back from wherever they're stored and ship them back. And that can take hours or days or in some cases. So obviously, cloud is an ideal mechanism to potentially eliminate tape and rotational media and eliminate those manual processes. We can have those local backups for fast recovery and then archive to the cloud to get that data off-site. And because it's all done in software, there's no manual process, there's no humans that have to touch the media, it can be fully automated, which makes it more efficient, frees up time for admins to do other things. So as a result of that, we've seen new cloud-based cold storage mechanisms come out. Google announced Google Cloud Storage Nearline as a beta back in March. And as of this morning, they have GA'd, made generally available Nearline to the world. And Nearline was designed for that infrequently accessed data, or less frequently accessed data. It's designed and has a very low cost, where if typical cloud storage is 3 cents or higher, the Nearline is 1 cent per gigabyte. The one thing that some of the cold storage offers have done is they've put a bit of a delay in how long you can get it takes to get that retrieval of the first byte. Amazon has their Glacier offer that they've had out for a couple years, and in Amazon's case, they basically require 3 to 5 hours to get that first byte of data back. Google has really disrupted that market with Nearline. They now have an SLA of 3 seconds or less for retrieval of that first byte. And they designed Nearline to use the same APIs as all the other Google Cloud Storage classes. So as a result of that, it's very easy to integrate into solutions and move between the different classes. If we look at Amazon Glacier versus Google Nearline, you can see that they are pretty similar in terms of cost. The retrieval speed varies a little bit, but the biggest difference, and the reason why we think Google Nearline is going to be disrupting this market, is the SLA of 3 seconds. They've essentially made it so that while not as instantaneous as their higher tier storage, they've made it near instantaneous. 3 seconds is very, very rapid for cold storage. The other thing that they've done that they announced today as well with the Nearline GA is they also announced that the retrieval speed can be purchased on demand. So the way Google Nearline is set up today is your retrieval speed is set up as 4 megabytes per second per terabyte of storage that you actually have. So the more you store, the faster your retrieval rate. But with the announcement today, they announced that there is an on-demand ability as well. You can purchase higher retrieval rates for smaller amounts of data if you so desire. As a result of that, those two things that we believe are really going to allow Nearline to be disruptive in the market. And we've designed Unitrends Free for Google Cloud Platform to work with Google Cloud Storage. We do support all three of the storage tiers that they have, both standard storage, durable, reduced availability storage, as well as Nearline. And we have integrated to make adopting those cloud storage solutions from Google as seamless an experience as possible. Just another quote from Tenasia Group talking about the fact that in their eyes, we've lapped the field in offering hyperscale cloud support with Unitrends Free. So we believe that using Unitrends Free and Google Nearline allows you to have both local and backup in the cloud for as low a cost as you're going to be able to do. Obviously, Unitrends Free is free. Nearline has a 1 cent per gigabyte cost. As a result of that, that's about as cost effective as you're going to be able to get for a small environment. Circling back on Unitrends Free, to just give you a little bit more idea of what's in there. As I said, it is designed for the community. It's both for channel partners as well as IT professionals. We hope IT professionals will use this in their small environments. We hope our channel partners use this to help their smaller customers or to help people who might be just getting in and wanting to kick the tires on virtualized backup. This is an easy way to experience how that works and get your legs under you, so to speak, on virtualized backup. And we are going to be working with the community over time, not only to provide support for the product, but also to guide us in where we're going to take the roadmap for it as well. We do have, obviously, we're in business for our paid products, So to give you an idea of what isn't in Unitrends Free versus our paid Unitrends Enterprise Backup. One of the differences obviously is in the limit. Unitrends Enterprise Backup, or what we sometimes call as UEB, obviously doesn't have any limits, where Unitrends Free is limited to 1.5 terabytes. Both support hypervisor level protection for vSphere and Hyper-V. Both do VM level recovery, including instant VM recovery, as well as file level recovery. Both supports cloud platforms. Unitrends Cloud today is currently only supported in the paid UEB product, the other difference is Unitrends Free is the primary product that is using our new Satori interface. The UEB product will get that later this year. Some of the other differences, some of the things that we did not include in the free version, our paid product supports physical protection for over 200 operating systems. So if you wanted to support, Windows Server or some legacy Linux or Unix-based operating system, that's only supported in our paid product. We've also kept a few different features, such as being able to back up the tape and being able to do dissimilar bare metal recovery. Those are only in our paid product. But the Unitrends Free product is very feature-rich to do the most important backup tasks that most people would expect, particularly for a small environment. To give you an idea of how Unitrends Free stacks up versus a typical competitor, we do a lot of things that even a competitor's paid product might not do. As you can see, we have full job scheduling. We support multiple VM jobs. We do incremental forever backups and instant recovery. None of those things are in free products that you'll see from other vendors. Those are usually features that are disabled in those free products. And going beyond that, Unitrends Free has detailed reports, has the Google Cloud integration, and other things that you might not even find in the paid version of competitive products. So very, very feature-rich for enterprises. So I invite you to learn more and download the product. You can go to unitrends.com/unitrendsfree and download both the original version of Unitrends Free as well as the Unitrends Free for Google Cloud Platform. For those of you who may not be as familiar with Unitrends, I'm just going to take 2 minutes to do a quick wrap-up on the company, and then we'll open this up for some Q&A. Unitrends has been doing backup for decades. We are based in Boston, but we have a European headquarters in London. All told, we protect well over 1,000 environments, have thousands of partners. We currently have well over an exabyte of data protected at our customer sites. And for those people that might be interested in our paid solutions beyond Unitrends Free, we support and offer 2 primary data protection and recovery solutions. Unitrends Recovery Series is our all-in-one physical backup appliance. We have 12 different models of that range in size from about 1 terabyte up to 100 terabytes. We also, for those of you customers and prospects that might not be interested in a physical appliance, we also have Unitrends Enterprise Backup, which is our all-in-one backup software product that deploys either as a virtual machine in VMware or Hyper-V, or alternatively, you can install it directly into Linux as installable software. We do have the Unitrends Cloud, which is our own cloud that supports cloud-based backup storage, as well as disaster recovery as a service, as well as a product that is designed to provide application-level recovery assurance. And what we mean by recovery assurance is the ability to know that your DR environment is going to work when you need it. Many enterprises to only do their DR test manually once or twice a year. Reliable DR lets you automate that DR testing, so you can potentially do it every few hours if you want at an application level, so you can always know that your DR environment is going to meet the recovery time objective and recovery point objectives that you set for each of your important applications. So with that, I think I'm going to pause here and thank you for attending today's webinar. I think we're going to open things up for some Q&A. Katie?
Yeah, we have quite a few great questions out there, so let's jump right in. Our first question today is coming in from Jason, and Jeffrey, and Jeffrey says, will this work with Microsoft Hyper-V?
Yes, it works with Microsoft Hyper-V. It installs as a virtual appliance in Microsoft Hyper-V, as well as VMware vSphere. So that's specifically what it's designed to do.
And then another question, this one's from Jason. Can you back up VMware vSphere free, or do you need to be at least running the Essentials version of VMware?
You need to be running with at least Essentials version. Because we're doing hypervisor level backup, we require the APIs that are only available in the paid version. Those APIs, VMware does not support them in the free ESXi version. However, we do have, just so you're aware, we do have another free offer that does support free ESXi version. It doesn't do hypervisor level backup. It actually uses agents to do essentially guest operating system level backup, but that works with the free ESXi version of VMware. So we do have you covered if you want that. It's a different solution today. There is some roadmap items that we're looking at of potentially combining those two together, but for right now they are separate free products, but both completely free.
Next question is coming in from Ken, and Ken says, does it work with any other cloud services such as Copy, Dropbox, or OneDrive?
Not today. The Unitrends free for Google Cloud Platform that gives you the 1.5 terabytes it only works with the Google Cloud Platform. We do have the Unitrends free, the original version, that supports not only the Google Cloud, it also supports Amazon S3, but it's a lower limit. We've limited that product to one terabyte of protection. We are looking at potentially supporting other clouds, including Unitrends free. Including the Unitrends cloud in the future, but right now it's just those two that are supported in Unitrends free.
All right. This question is coming in from Jorge, and Jorge says, can we use Unitrends free for D2D to X setup only without going to the cloud?
Yeah, if you do not want to go to the cloud, if you're just looking for local backup from D2D, yeah, absolutely. No requirement that you have to turn on the cloud copies. It's there for you to use, and it's very easy to turn on and set up those copies to go to the cloud, but not something that's required. So if you want to just do local backups, D2D, Unitrends free will work for that as well.
Question coming in from Josh, and Josh says, if you're using Unitrends free and your business grows to over 1.5 terabytes, how do you expand Unitrends to support more data?
It is designed to kind of get through that small environment. We would hope if your environment expands beyond the 1.5 terabytes, you'd look to actually move up to the Unitrends Enterprise Backup, the paid product. And that is designed, the backups are pretty much the same. You can have a backup that was done with Unitrends free, move over to UEB just the way you would if you had different versions of UEB and you were kind of updating your UEB software. So we would hope that people would move to the paid product if their environment gets larger than the 1.5 terabyte that we're limiting it to right now.
All right, and then it looks like we have 2 more questions unless somebody is holding on to one out there. Question's coming in from Edward, and Edward says, can you explain what deep virtualization protection is on the paid version of Unitrends solutions?
Sure. One of the things that we do with our software that's in both the recovery series as well as the UEB product is support what we call deep virtualization. And what we mean by that is typically with virtualized backup solutions, you have one of two choices. And this is what all of our competitors do. They offer you one or the other. You either support the VMs through hypervisor level backups, where you're using the APIs that are in the hypervisor to take snapshots of those VMs. It's very, very easy to use, doesn't require an agent in the VM, but there are some downsides of doing hypervisor only. You're taking snapshots of the entire VM. You may be backing up more data than you necessarily have to. And that can actually have an impact on the performance. If you have, for example, a very large Exchange environment that has terabytes of data in your Exchange environment, backing up that amount of data could actually glitch the application. As a result of that, sometimes hypervisor only backups don't work for certain applications. The alternative is to use agents, and some of our competitors use agents exclusively to do virtualized backup. They treat the VMs and the operating systems that run in the VMs just as they would physical machines, and put agents everywhere to do a backup. And an agent allows you to do some nice things. It allows you to have deeper insight into the operating system and deeper insight into a specific application. So in that Exchange example, for example, we can know exactly what data was changing in Exchange and only back up a smaller subset of that data. You're not having to take a snapshot of the whole VM. As a result of that, you shrink your backup window, you shrink the amount of data you have to support. But most competitors make you choose. It's either hypervisor only or guest operating system only backup. Deep virtualization allows us to do both. You can actually deploy hypervisor-based backups across all your VMs, and then selectively deploy agents into those VMs that need that extra attention, either for performance reasons or for additional selective backup and recovery reasons at the operating system and application layer. So that's what we mean by deep virtualization, is the ability to do both hypervisor level as well as guest and application level backup.
All right, and then we actually have two more questions. There was one more that came in. The next one is from Brant, and Brant says, I might have missed this, but is there SQL-specific backup in this product?
Everything with Unitrends Free is, having just talked about kind of application-specific and deep virtualization, Unitrends Free is hypervisor only. If you want that deep virtualization or that application-specific backup, you want to specifically do backup of SQL, that requires the paid product. So it is one of the things that we hold on to for the paid product. So you can support, SQL backups, but you're protecting them at the VM layer using the hypervisor level backups.
All right, and then our last question today is from John, and John says, what's the best way to back up to an on-premise NAS, i.e., is there a way to add the NAS as a backup target to Unitrends Free, or are you limited to the storage inside the host running the Unitrends Free virtual appliance?
Unitrends Free essentially installs as a virtual appliance. We do use, just as we do in our paid product, we are able to support whatever storage you actually have available. We don't have some of the capabilities that we actually have in our paid products, such as supporting NDMP and other capabilities. But if it's storage that is accessible to the virtual appliance, you should be able to use it. That may require a more detailed follow-up. If we get that person's email, we'll make sure we follow up and make sure that we address their whatever the specific concern is. I'm not sure if I precisely answered the question they were asking.
John, I'll make sure that somebody follows up with you in the next couple of hours on that, and so we'll get that taken care of. And then if you're up for one more question, Dave, I've got one more.
Sure.
Okay. This one's coming from Tom, and Tom says, is there a deduplication process for incrementals, or does it store entire separate VMs?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You broke up a little bit.
Yep. Is there a deduplication process for incrementals, or does it store entire separate VMs?
Yeah, deduplication is something that is not in the Unitrends free product right now. We do get some basic compression in the product, but the deduplication engine that we have is something that's in the paid product and not in the free version.
Okay. All right, well, I think we got them all today. We really want to thank everybody for their time and interest in the Unitrends and Google Nearline collaboration. And we look forward to following up with each and every one of you here over the next few days to answer any questions that we didn't during the session, and to follow up with a few of you specifically about questions that you asked. And we hope you have a great afternoon and get that Unitrends free download taken care of today. Thanks so much.